The hotel where the Russian soldiers who were sent to Luhansk by Putin's orders were staying was destroyed by the mind-boggling operation of the Ukrainian army. Putin, who recently lost many ammunition routes during the successive sabotage actions organized by the Ukrainian army, ordered the creation of a special team to repair the decayed shipping routes. But the move of the Ukrainian intelligence service changed everything. Russian soldiers assigned to repair the railway in Luhansk have experienced the nightmare with the critical step taken by the Ukrainian Special Forces unit. As a result of these developments, which upset all Putin's plans, the ammunition and supplies crisis of the Russian army has reached an irrepressible level. Meanwhile, the explosions that occurred in many critical regions of Russia caused a huge panic in the Kremlin. The Russian people are counting down the days for the end of the Putin regime. The endless defeats suffered by the Russian army during the last period of the Russo-Ukrainian War completely changed the balance of the war. The Ukrainian army, which showed admirable resistance by focusing on its defensive position in the first months, has reached the strength to organize large-scale offensive operations thanks to the support packages provided by numerous world states, especially the United States and other Western countries. The Ukrainian forces, who directed the vast majority of these offensive operations to the ammunition depots of the Russian army, literally cornered Putin by signing a very critical decision. Putin, who has been increasingly restricting ammunition shipments due to the economic crisis, has recently been able to send troops, weapons, ammunition, and supplies only through railways. As a result of the Ukrainian intelligence detecting these railways one by one, the Ukrainian Special Forces unit began to organize sabotage actions on many Russian ammunition routes. Vladimir Putin, who could not provide support to the Russian headquarters on the territory of Ukraine in any way due to the destruction of many railways, became mad with anger in the face of these developments. In particular, the neutralization of a critical ammunition route such as the Luhansk railway could have caused Putin to completely lose the war. Putin, who could not completely establish dominance in Luhansk, one of the critical regions occupied by the Russian army in the first months of the war, was very afraid of the repulse of Russian forces in this region. For this reason, Putin ordered the urgent repair of the railway reaching Luhansk and asked for a special team to be established by the Russian army. Putin, who recently created a military team under the name of the Rail Systems Intervention Group to stop the sabotage activities of the Ukrainian army against railways, immediately dispatched this group to Luhansk. Putin, who imagined that in this way he would reactivate the railway and secure ammunition shipments, was shocked by the move of the Ukrainian intelligence service. The Ukrayna intelligence service, which has been investigating the history of ammunition shipments to the Russian army for a long time, and through which route they will take place, has deciphered Putin's secret plan through its agents in the Luhansk region. Ukrainian intelligence service officials, who learned that the intervention group for rail systems, consisting of Russian soldiers, had recently been sent to Luhansk and had started working to repair the railway, immediately reported the situation to Ukrainian commanders. Thereupon, the Ukrainian Special Forces unit, which took action without wasting any time, set off from the city of Lyman after completing its preparations. Meanwhile, Ukrainian agents stationed around Luhansk have identified the accommodation of Russian soldiers sent to the region by Putin's order. It was learned that they were staying in an abandoned hotel in Luhansk, and with the exception of these Russian soldiers whom Putin had specially selected, there was a complete ban on the entry or exit of any personnel to the hotel. Putin, who had recently been betrayed by many names he trusted, did not want to have any problems during the repair of railways where ammunition shipments took place. However, this situation was causing a very big security gap to occur around the hotel. The Ukrainian Special Forces troops, who knew the opportunity of this situation, organized a brilliant operation. Later in the night, Ukrainian forces reached the vicinity of the hotel where Russian soldiers were stationed and completely blockaded the hotel building. The Ukrainian Special Forces unit, which conducted a more detailed inspection via drones, noticed that there were no guards in front of the hotel parking lot. Ukrainian soldiers who entered the building from here placed remote-controlled explosives in the columns of the parking lot after pouring gasoline from the ground floor to the outside of the hotel. The fire started by the Ukrainian soldiers who left the hotel less than an hour later soon took over the entire building. Surprised by what they suffered in the face of this unexpected fire, the Russian soldiers headed to the parking lot to evacuate the building. However, just at this time, the move of the Ukrainian soldiers, who activated the explosives they had previously planted, made the hotel's parking lot unusable. In a short time, all the soldiers in Luhansk were mobilized to extinguish the fire, which also began to spread outside the hotel. However, the occupying Russian forces, who were unable to extinguish the fire despite long efforts, requested assistance from the Kremlin. Fire crews who reached the area hours later saw nothing but the remains of a building that had become unusable opposite them. Putin, whose plan to repair the railway in Luhansk was completely disrupted, failed to solve the ammunition crisis and caused the loss of more than 30 Russian soldiers serving in the Russian army, where there is currently a lack of manpower. After these developments, which completely turned the balance in the war in Ukraine's favor, the successive explosions that started in Russia did not leave Putin with a chance to make decrees. The recent explosions and fires within the borders of Russia have caused a huge panic in Russian domestic politics. About these explosions, which are causing the Russian people to doubt their safety day by day, the Russian government suggested that they were caused by purely natural causes. The fact that these explosions, which many pro-Putin Russian bureaucrats claim were caused by reasons such as electricity leakage, occurred only at centers belonging to the Russian armed forces and power generation facilities, raised suspicions. The Russian people, whose trust in Vladimir Putin was already reaching the point of exhaustion day by day, could not access any objective information due to censorship laws in Russia. However, the statements made by some Russian opposition lawmakers about these explosions, primarily being Russia as a result, it fell on the agenda of the whole world like a bomb. Russian opposition lawmakers claimed that these explosions were associated with acts of sabotage by Ukrainian insurgent organizations. Putin, who has forced these people to live in Russia by giving Russian passports to Ukrainian citizens residing in the occupied territories since the beginning of the war, thought that this would speed up the assimilation project. But the facts were not like that at all. The anger of the Russian people has increased with each passing minute, as these groups, which have formed resistance organizations on the borders of Russia in a short period of time, have recently increased their sabotage activities. On top of this, opposition lawmakers criticized Putin for failing to ensure border security, saying that Russia will have huge problems as long as the Putin regime continues. Political experts predict that these problems experienced by Russian leader Vladimir Putin, who has completely lost the support of the Russian people and the Russian army recently, will cause him to lose his throne.